What's happening, folks out there? Broadcasting live to you and yours. It's your boy Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool, and you are watching or listening to another episode of the Game & Watch podcast, episode number 72. Welcome, folks. Welcome. I am joined once again by my absolute great, phenomenal co-host. First, Happy New Year, Black Cat Celine. Welcome back. How you doing?
Hey guys.
Hello there. We got Matt, the educator. I'm just going to run with that now, Matt. The educator, back with us again. How you doing?
I'm tired. Matt the tired.
Matt the tired today. Matt the tired today.
Friar of the fatigued. I'm tired.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been a bit tired too, but I'm pushing through it, man. And then, of course, my main man, the F-man, RView Gaming OVG himself, Finest Dabs.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay? Is that coming through loud and clear? I'm doing awesome. Hey!
Welcome back, man. We've missed
relaxed you. Wind down. Get ready to go. Oh, I'm sorry, you missed me?
Yeah, we missed you the past couple episodes.
Oh man, well, I'm always here. I'm always secretly here. So if people ever want to chat in and say hello to the guy behind the scenes, I'm one of them. So but what's up, everyone?
What's going on, the Finest? All right, so today on the show, we're going to be talking about perhaps the biggest gaming news story this year. I think it's probably going to be the biggest by the end of the year, as we've all heard, and you're going to get our reaction on it today. Microsoft acquiring Activision, and there's a lot of moving pieces with this, so we will definitely deep dive into that. Of course, what we're playing, the few games coming out this week, and some gaming news call-outs. But before we get all started with all that, how's everyone been? How's everyone's week been? Minus the video games and all that great stuff.
I'm tired. I unfortunately only got about 5 hours sleep last night because that's what happens when you can live stream a major event in your wife's home country. So, yeah, but it's okay. I never mind supporting her and being able to see stuff that's going on the other side of the world. That's one of the great things about this pandemic, right? That the idea of seeing something remotely and being able to enjoy it and participate in it, even if it's at the worst, most dastardly hour, it's still great that you can participate and not have to drop thousands of dollars to fly over there. And for us from Australia to get to Ireland, it's basically 21 hours gone just to get there.
This is true.
Yeah, definitely.
So here's coffee number 1 and also coffee number 2. Just to make sure I'm actually going to be
I thought you were
just
joking. Yeah, I thought you were joking earlier when you told me you had 2 copies. Yeah.
No, man, I'm loaded. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. And Celine, how you been? How's everything been with you? Happy New Year to you.
She might be trying to pick her audience.
There she is.
I think I've got a halfway house going. I've just managed to, but the thing is, I've actually opened the door, so I might have to I'll ask Apollo about putting in a network extender in the bedroom or something. I've been doing all right. Keeping busy.
All right. Well, that's definitely good. It's great to always have you on the show. Always look forward to what opinions you have on the wonderful video games we all love to talk about. And of course, my main man, F-man, Mr. RView Gaming, OVG. He has so many names. He needs no introduction. How you doing, dude?
You know what? I'm doing well. And why not? I'm just going to announce this here because
why not?
It's far enough along. Justin already knows. But we're having another baby. So plenty to celebrate over here. So this will be Thank you. This will be number 2. We waited quite a while to announce this because things happen. But in June 15th is the due date, and I'm glad to share this with my podcasting friends and family. So
wishing you all the best, man.
That's definitely another. Congrats, Finest. Definitely another addition to the Dabs family. Another little gamer is going to be running around trying to follow in his great daddy's footsteps.
Oh yeah.
What better time to announce the coming of a child when someone adds an additional company to their family?
Yeah. That's just great. As for me, as you can tell by my hat, I've been bumping some Wu-Tang this week. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but on the real though, I've had a good week, and I can't complain. Work's been good.
Wait, Justin, before you go on, let's make this official. Because no one got to ask you. You just had to jump in. How was your week, man? I just wanted to make it official.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just making sure it fits in with the show's structure. Super important. So
all right. Okay, I got it. So I just don't jump in. Okay, yeah. It's been a great week. I can't complain. Been spending time with the missus and my daughter, whenever I get a chance. And of course, just playing awesome games. Work's been good. Been getting plenty of rest. I'm just ready to go. Kick this week off right. With another episode of the Game and Watch podcast.
Nice.
But, yeah. So yeah, definitely. So during this segment, I guess I'll just have one of you guys ask me after I ask everyone. Unless someone else is hosting, then
No, I just wanted to ask you. I didn't want to be rude, that's all it was.
Okay.
Yeah, because we care about you, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. I care about y'all also. Okay, so with that being said, with our icebreaker out of the way, just a reminder that the Game Watch podcast is an RB Gaming or OVG production. For your viewing pleasure, we stream on whatever you're watching us on right now: Facebook Live, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. And then for your listening pleasures, we are on any platform that you're listening to us on. So whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, we're available there. Oh yeah, before I forget, we have a Patreon. Anything donated to our Patreon will make this a better show for all. And by all, I mean us as your host and you as your listener. So definitely donate to us if you have the money to do so. All right. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into these topics before we get into the big topic. So let's start with 2021, last year. So last year, what console won the war last year in terms of sales? Any guesses? Anyone? No.
Well, I'm sure Xbox and PS5 surely couldn't be up there.
Yeah. So the Switch won pretty much the battle of the gaming consoles of all last year. So I mean, regardless of however you want to talk, Nintendo can do this, Nintendo can do that better. Apparently, people are buying it because not only is its number one selling console, it's also did very well sales-wise last year. So, I mean, you got to give Nintendo credit where credit's due. I mean, maybe there are just a lot of Nintendo just super fans out there that just love their products, or
let's chalk this up to actually what it's going to be. During the pandemic, the Switch probably had the most sales of any. I know that at the very beginning of 2020, they had a shortage on the Ring Fit thing that you use the Switch with, just because everyone was in lockdown and stuff. That was helping them get their exercise in and was a novelty. And then the OLED model comes out this year. It sells bang for buck. It's just, they've been hitting their stride in the last 2 years, and it's made sense, kind of. Switch being a mobile console and everybody staying at home and buying them, that bit didn't really make much sense. But yeah, Switch has got plenty of reasons to be the most sold console this year. Last year.
Still in 2021 mode. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So last year, I mean, so yeah, it's definitely, it's made quite a bit of money, and as for the games, we'll go into the top games of last year. Just we can start with December. I mean, Animal Crossing, number 10, NBA 2K22, Mario Party Superstars, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Battlefield 2042. That was a top game, and as broken as that is, I guess people love their first-person shooters, I guess. Madden NFL 22, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pear, Halo Infinite number 2, and the number 1 selling game for last month was Call of Duty Vanguard. So, I mean...
got all your big winners here, right? You've got your Call of Duties, you got your Maddens, you got your Mario Karts, got your Battlefields. Just ticking boxes.
You know what?
Pretty much.
Oh, were you saying, Tinley?
Yeah.
I was just agreeing with. Sorry, I was just agreeing with Matt about like it's just ticking boxes. You know, it's by the numbers, and you know, I'm not into shooters in general, so it's probably easy for me to say that. But yeah.
But it's the parents buying Christmas presents as well, right? It's oh, Call of Duty. That's one that I know.
I mean,
buy that one.
I'm definitely surprised here. I mean, Call of Duty, I'm not so surprised. Like they're giving that away with Xboxes and PS5s in terms of like bundles for Best Buy, GameStop. Halo Infinite, I'm still surprised. Like it's free on Game Pass, and
people are still buying it.
People are still buying it. You know, which is absolutely insane.
It's cheating.
Well, this is NPD sales, so this is copies sold. This isn't. This isn't digital. This isn't digital copies given out or anything on Game Pass.
It's a really funny statistic that somehow, despite being a subscription program, Game Pass does really well in selling games, just outright. And whatever that might be, the reasoning behind it, it could be that people want to make sure they've got access to it, even though it's a fully digital copy and they could purchase it later, maybe for cheaper if they wanted to.
Might be the case. You saying that's reminded me. Are you familiar with the game Thomas Was Alone?
Oh yes, Bithell Games. Very good one.
Yeah, it was because that game was originally on PlayStation Plus years and years ago, and I think that kind of acted as a leapfrog into getting views on it, and people getting word out, so the people who didn't get PlayStation Plus that month would go and buy it because they've heard so many good things about it. So sometimes giving away the game for free can sometimes be the thing that catapults things to higher levels.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that one shot to fame because they did it was one of the first Humble bundles when Humble Bundle first started after THQ went south. I think that was the first time Thomas Was Alone had that little surge in sales. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, totally agree with that one. And then it's just in terms of like games that Game Pass like does have, like not everyone's on Game Pass obviously. And you can play Halo essentially like on almost any Xbox console along with PC. So you know, these are all reasons why it could be higher also. And you know, it's just still surprising like that people don't do Game Pass. You know, not everyone has great internet, so totally understand there. But for the people that aren't doing it, it's just crazy like that you can get like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of games, have access to it, internet pending, and then you know, and then play these games for free. But of course, like you know, some people just want to, like Matt said, have access to their games and be able to purchase them. And yeah,
well, look, I don't think internet's even going to be a factor either, because let's be honest, you buy it on disc, put it in the console, there's going to be a 60 gig update immediately. Like, as long as, you know, it wasn't a bunch of kids disappointed on Christmas Day at that 60 gigabyte update and the parents knew exactly what they were up to, then yeah. But yeah.
How do you guys feel about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe though?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, that's why I think the last episode or the week before we were talking about Mario Kart 9. Like I keep saying, I have to see it to believe it, because this is just keeps like just on just about every top 10 list in terms of sales. I know they keep bundling it with the Switch, but it's just like, oh man, it's like just put out a big update for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I think we're good there. Like, you don't need a Mario Kart 9 in my opinion.
And that was in December. That's not the US one. So
but the top 10 video games for the US in the US anyway for 2021. I'll just run through this real quick. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. MLB The Show 21. Oh, that's surprising to me. To see actual, well, I mean, we'll keep going. Resident Evil Village, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe once again, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Battlefield 2042, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Madden NFL 22, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I got that one last year. That was actually a pretty good game. And Call of Duty Vanguard. So at least in physical sales, I mean, that's how we see it. And I mean, like you were saying earlier about Game Pass. I mean, for me, I love Forza Horizon 5. I haven't bought a physical copy of it yet, but I will probably go out and get a physical copy of it, eventually. So I mean, I think Game Pass does influence, how gamers do, buy, games. So I mean, I think it's doing something more than just people just downloading the game, but it has allowed me to test the waters on games too, like that one game, Empire of Sin. That game was garbage. Like, did not like that at all. Like, I played it for maybe like an hour or two. Just glad I saved my money there. So, yeah. So I mean, yeah,
we got two more heavy hitters at the top of this list as well. The Call of Duties would make sense if they released one last year, quite late, and then another one this year.
Call of Duty is a big one, and it's gonna be one of the ones we're gonna be talking about a little bit later on. Anything else on MPD numbers before we move on?
Well, just that you should check out the Game Informer site for these numbers if you want to go and have a look, because those guys are pretty good at lists, and there's a lot of information there as well. But yeah.
All right.
Also, again, very not surprised about Pokemon being on that list as well.
No, Pokemon. Yeah, it still blows me away to this day. I thought it was gonna be like a fad when it came out in the mid to late 90s, but no.
Dude, they had cartoons and games in the mid 90s. Like,
I was a big fan of the cartoon show in the 90s, but like after the original cartoon show, I kind of fell off it and really didn't play the games all that much. I'm just being honest. But speaking of Pokemon, Nintendo, I guess we got to be fair to these guys, because we always talk about the games coming out for PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Now, the Game Pass. So we got to be fair to Nintendo in this also, even if they are older games. But Banjo-Kazooie arrives on the Nintendo Switch this week, and this is kind of big news because this really had to go through one other company for them to do this, right? Microsoft, since they're owned by Rare. So this is kind of a big deal. Not just the game coming to the online service itself, but just for the most part, just want to get that out there that it's here on the Switch, and it's bringing a lot of people to saying that is the Switch online service getting better with the N64 games? And I shared an article, I think last night. I think Matt reacted to it. That it seems like they're trying to get this right with the N64 on the Switch Online. And I know they fixed a few things, like the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time with the fog level or the fog temple or whatever. It looks like they've improved that a bit, but there's still some bugs here and there. So it's not perfect, but it sounds like they're getting better. It sounds like they're trying. We can only go with reports because I still have not purchased it yet. I was just kidding when I said I was going to, but I wasn't serious. I would have. I'm not going in just yet. But if anyone out there wants to go in, just let me know if it's worth it. Maybe.
Look, I'd say there's a value proposition there that is probably okay. I think Nintendo's doing all right. I think they're taking a bit of a early release kind of model, put it in a state that's functional, and then build it up over time to improve it for whatever reason, whether they intended to do that or not. So it makes sense that they're still improving it over time. It would feel like from the outside, after they had that very, very bad release with all of the nonsense going on around it and the games not being in the best quality that they could possibly be, that they do just kind of put the product on the shelf and then just scarper and don't do much else with it. But it does look like they're putting the effort in and they have teams dedicated to trying to improve the emulation. So yeah, it could be worth the money soon. Maybe still not right now, but
not
soon.
right now. No, maybe in a second and a half year, maybe I'd look into it and like, all right, maybe $50 for this. Okay, maybe, but right now, no. Like,
I'm personally not surprised at all about this at all, because I got to find the episode. Bless you, but this was one of my predictions last year. So I mean, I'm hitting them. I'm hitting them right now. Like, Game Pass and Banjo Kazooie and Switch Online and everything going so far, I'm gonna roll. But no, we couldn't. But yeah, this was one of my.
I want to confuse the audience. I just quietly chatted just to make sure that you didn't hear me sneeze and blow out the microphone, because I don't want to destroy eardrums, and I wanted to check the mute button actually works. So, if you're listening and wondering why F just said yes, it is. sorry, Finest, go ahead.
No, you're fine. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and find the episode. But yeah, definitely I mentioned last year that Banjo Kazooie and coming to Switch Online. It was probably the episode where we talked about Switch Online in depth. But
yeah, I do remember that. Yeah,
Nintendo already said they're going to dedicate, after all the negative feedback they got about Switch Online and the prices going up and the games that they're going to add and so forth, and just the limited amount that they said they were going to do everything they can to improve that system and the online capabilities. But we're still, time is going to tell. I think they're also, I can't confirm this right now, but I think they also are removing some stuff eventually, like in the roadmap, like they're supposed to remove some games also. So I don't think it's anything, is it getting better? Yeah, it eventually will. I mean, progression and time usually entails that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see them bringing these old popular games that they're bringing as a really significant sign that they're gonna improve anytime soon.
But Banjo will bring fans anyway.
Yeah,
I think
it's a big.
I think it will bring people regardless of the quality that want to jump on board no matter what. Like I remarked this on a Twitter thread the other night, that apparently Kingdom Hearts is coming to Switch this year in all its glory. Like I think 1, 2, 3, and a lot of the in between games are all coming to Switch, which is going to drag an entire population of a dedicated fan base over to a brand new platform.
February 10th, it's coming. Yeah,
that's soon. Jeez,
that's February 10th. I'm looking at the thing now. Yeah, February 10th.
Yeah, they're using but they're using their cloud servers that they've already experimented with what was that game?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
No,
it wasn't that one.
It wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the Control. So Control was one of them, and they've done a couple of different games doing the cloud, and none of them have performed even the slightest bit of well. So them bringing like the entire Kingdom Hearts saga and like in all its glory is, I think, very much a pipe dream. But I guess when it comes out, we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, this was announced last year sometime, and it was delayed, and now it's coming out this year. So we'll see. And it was obviously delayed. Well, not obviously, but I think it was probably delayed because of the difficulty bringing it to the Switch, or it could be COVID, or it could be a little bit of both. But yeah, I'm not really looking for, like, if I'm going to play Banjo Kazooie, I'm going to go do that on Xbox. If I'm going to play Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to play it on any other system than this one, because I can't take that chance. I wouldn't want to take the chance with my money or my time.
You said you'd play Kingdom Hearts. That's a win in my book.
Well, yeah, it's going to be the whole thing. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5, 2.5 remix, Kingdom Hearts 3. So yeah, just so it's coming February 10th. So definitely be on the lookout for that
Do you
one.
guys know why they came up with 2.8?
I wouldn't be able to tell
I
you.
knew once. I just
Because they
They-
also included they've got a prequel. They've got like a kind of so they've got a very short game called Kingdom Hearts 0.2, which is focusing on Aqua just before 3.
Oh, okay. There's so many. See, I did my stock standard. I did my 1, my 2, and my 3, and then left it alone for the most part. When I got 3, though, I had the chance to investigate a couple of extra
A lot of
components, like
things didn't make sense.
378 over 2 or whatever that. No, 358 over 2. I think that one was.
Yeah.
They love playing around with numbers with Kingdom Hearts. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, all those little extra interstitial stories are really interesting. But I think the most interesting after you finish Kingdom Hearts 2 and get the perfect ending, that's where it starts to make sense and stitch together. Really great if you do it before Kingdom Hearts 3. Also, Square Enix, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, that's how you do stealth marketing and change a story about Banjo-Kazooie into a story about Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
well, yeah,
Way
it's
off
all
topic, I
good.
think.
Yeah,
I'll slip into Square Enix's DMs tonight and see if we
Yeah.
can finagle
Yeah,
something.
yeah, sounds
Let's do
good. And then also with the Switch Online, just wanted to throw this out there. Nothing really big, but Majora's Mask is going to be coming to the Switch Online next month. So for you Zelda fans out there that want to relive Majora's Mask, or if you've never played it before and want to experience it for the first time, the Switch Online service would be your chance to do so, unless you have it on another console or handheld device you could play it on. So just wanted to get that out there as well. Let's stick with Xbox for a minute. Apparently, the Xbox Series X and S are Microsoft's fastest selling consoles despite limited supplies. So is this going to break the 360 record? We just have to wait and see. I mean, the Xbox Series S did very good Black Friday. I could have had one myself because, like I told y'all, I forget what episode it was, but I was walking in Target. It was like staring at me dead in the face. I could have had one that day if I really wanted one. So, I mean, despite it's the limited supplies in the whole console space, what are your thoughts on the Xbox Series X and S and where it finishes up? Do you think it will pass the 85 million units that the 360 sold or less?
I think scarcity leads to sales. I mean, we could get into a conversation about NFTs and crypto if you like, but if people think it's hard to get, they're going to buy it, especially if they think that they're going to miss out down the track. So I'd say instead of having a headline saying despite limited supplies, I would say it's because of limited supplies. People think they're missing out. They're going to jump on it a little bit faster than if they were going to be constantly available all the time.
Yeah,
I think.
Agreed.
The educator at it again.
Yeah, I was able to snag one during the holiday season. But like I said, like the thing that made it easier for me to get was like GameStop did their bundle where you had to buy the 2 games with it, and then you had to buy what else was it?
A
I don't
controller
know.
or something.
Yeah. It was just it made the console even more. Like I had to buy like just all this stuff, and it made it just so expensive. And a lot of it I would have got anyway. So it really didn't matter too much. But I still got to send you Far Cry because that was one of the games that I had to buy with it. But
Yeah,
I
still waiting
was,
on it.
yeah, I was able to snag one. Yeah, and that scarcity definitely made me want. Well, I would have bought it either way, but the scarcity definitely made it more like I tried harder. Like, and I never put that much effort into trying to get a console. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest surprise with the current sales is where they were when PlayStation announced where they were at, and when we had Xbox projected numbers, because Xbox doesn't announce sales numbers anymore, but there's a whole bunch of analytics around that, and people were figuring out based on what Xbox was saying. They're like, this is our fastest selling console, this is our fastest selling console, and they were basing it on the Xbox One and Xbox 360, where that can potentially be. So like PlayStation said they were like at like 10 million, and then so people projected that Xbox was around like 6 million at that 10 million mark. And then now PlayStation, the last update we got from PlayStation, they said they were at like 13.5 million. And then, you know, with Xbox saying where they were at, the last prediction with Xbox was that they were around 12 million. So just if those numbers are accurate, then I'm very surprised that Xbox is that much in line with PlayStation and where they're at. And this is all amid a supposed chip shortage. And these consoles are supposedly, you know, selling faster than ever, which is like, it kind of makes no sense to me, but you know, it does at the same time.
Well, without getting too complicated just yet, there are a lot of really good reasons to make Microsoft an incredibly attractive company and send out all these numbers about success and, you know, improve their stock price in the lead up to what this Activision Blizzard acquisition meant for them and the reason they could pick it up for the price they did. Again, without going into too much detail just yet, I think them coming out with all these numbers and talking about how successful things are and all this good stuff puts them in a better position in the market, I think. We might find that, reflecting on it in a year or so, that was probably why all that info came out.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see where they land at. I know it's not going to be for, you know, another 5-6 years, but hey, if this is their, you know, best selling console ever, chances are I'll probably get one eventually. You know, I mean, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the price has to come down a bit first, but who knows when that's going to be, especially despite this whole chip shortage. But you know, it seems like that they're doing all the right things with the Xbox Series X and S. You want to say something, Matt?
Don't forget, we got Game Pass too.
Oh yeah,
Game Pass as like a portable library of like 600 games on a top of the line console. Like that has to be driving sales a little bit as well. Has to.
Yeah. Game Pass, you know, they just announced, well, I think we talked about this last week. They hit 25 million in sales. There's currently 25 million subscribers. So, I mean, Game Pass is obviously doing something right, and they are driving sales for Xbox. But Xbox has, I feel like, in order to catch up and in order to be in a place where they are at right now, after making so many errors after the 360, you know, just had to be so customer focused and driven and really just hone in on what the customers want, you know, and just kind of almost do like a perfect run in terms of like advertising and marketing and making those next best steps. And what was it like? I think they did talk about like raising Game Pass at one point, and then they pulled that back like as soon as you know, everyone got an uproar and everyone was like so angry, and then they're like, oh, never mind, we're not going to raise it yet. You know, so Microsoft has just been very much ears to the ground, listening and ensuring that they do not stumble over their own feet or take for granted any of the success that they have based on what happened previously.
Yeah, I was going to say they probably learned from the Xbox One incident.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, they definitely learned their lesson, you know, coming off that high horse with the 360 and then just to do what they did with the Xbox One. And not to take anything away from the Xbox One, it's a good console. I think, you know, the first iteration of it was a little too big. I think they got it right with the One S, in my opinion. And then, you know, the Xbox One X, obviously, you know, that was obviously to compete with the PS4 Pro. So, I mean,
they just read the room wrong, I think, because the one was going to be your all-in-one media box that had the capacity to connect your cable, and you know, it was going to be a media center as opposed to a gaming console. But they clearly learned from that, and they're driving towards just games for a gaming console.
Yeah, especially with their with their buying of studios in recent years, they've been going at that quite hard.
Yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
We're getting to that. We're getting to that very soon. Let's get to our last topic before that. Let's see. Looks like crunch is still going on in the world of gaming, as we're seeing it with the latest Lego game and Star Wars. And people love Legos. People love their Lego games. People love Star Wars. So the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, pretty much has led to crunch, because it seems like they're just hurry up and trying to get this game out. And we've talked about crunch before in the gaming business, and for the most part, I mean, it's no one wants to be putting in 100+ hours at any job, in my opinion. Just whether you're working in retail, whether you're working in retail or work in education, law enforcement, whatever the case may be, everyone needs a time for a little R&R. So it's like I read this story and it's just like, what really they're trying to? How soon do they want to get this out? I'm looking at the release schedule right now. It looks like it is scheduled for April 15th. It's going to become, no, not April 15th, April 5th, excuse me. It's going to be coming to all system as of right now. I mean, how do y'all feel about this? Do you think they should just push it back if they are doing crunch right now, or?
I think it's a bigger topic than that, because like this article from Polygon is great in terms of how much depth it goes into about what that studio has been like for the people who work there. It sounds like the leadership of that company, despite it changing multiple times, has still retained the mentality of crunch as a standard. Like people being required to work overtime, people being berated to return to their desks when they're trying to leave work at 5 o'clock on the dot. Like, what are you doing? Why are you going home at 5? We always do 2.5 hours overtime every single day, every week. Like the kinds of people that we're telling these guys to keep doing their job and keep providing for this company off their own back. It's unbelievable. I would urge anyone listening or watching to jump over to Polygon now and give that story a big old read. It's a big article.
Not now.
Oh, of course not right now. But
I'll have the article.
Little pocket apps, and they're saving their articles to read later or when they're on the can or whatever. But it said so much, and the fact that it's people sharing anonymously because of NDAs, of course, that makes sense. But it seems like we've gotten a very dark story across a number of developed Lego titles, and that they relied on crunch as a project planning method as opposed to it being a backup. It's truly despicable, and why it's really great to hear about the unionizing coming out of the QA department in the Raven studio as part of Blizzard, Activision Blizzard as well. But again, that's another story.
Yeah, we'll get into that later also. Yeah. All this is leading up to something, folks. So
I think it's bigger than talking about when this game comes out. Like, we can't just say, if it's coming out at this time, let's give them 6 extra months so that they don't have to push their employees into crunch. Because it sounds like they're just going to do it anyway. It's not good.
Yeah,
Not good.
and I mean, this article does speak about so much, and there's just so much to delve into, and even me like spouting out just a couple top things isn't really going to do it justice. But I'm going to spout a couple of things that like this article talks about. It talks about like gender equality and pay gaps, and just the difference in of course what everyone's getting paid within the company and how there's bias there. This article talks about how during crunch time, which has been essentially, this article talks about through the inception of this company, pretty much from 2007. Like, this talks all the way back from 2007 up to current day, which blows my mind because crunch is such a topic, like such a hot topic, and it is on people's like minds and it is talked about, and yet we're seeing this like article from people that have secretly talked to this author from Polygon, and it's just getting out now. Like that almost confuses me in such a way, because everyone that interviewed in this article seems so upset, so disturbed, following people to their cars, like, and just building crunch in to, you can't even call it crunch at this point because they built it into every day. And then they had a quote, I forget what the quote, but it was like very much like BioWare magic. Oh, it was in terms of their Metacritic. They said one of their best game hit at 83 on Metacritic.
I think it was Strive for 85 or something like that.
Strive for 85, yes, yeah. And so, and then they built that into their everyday talk, and in trying to not encourage, but more,
it puts pressure on them, right?
Yeah,
it's like saying it's your responsibility that this game scores highly by objective bodies or subjective bodies who are going to rate it.
It's ridiculous.
It's unfair.
Yeah. And
as someone who enjoys creative endeavors, I want to slap the person who said that, because frankly, here's the thing. If you are so busy striving to kind of, for things like the Metacritic scores and all that, you're going to lose your vision. But if you focus on the creativity and the thing that gives your game its identity, then, and you do that well, the good reviews are going to follow, and to do that well, you need to look after your staff and make sure that their needs are met. And that's the thing that really drives me bonkers. It's just the fact that executives are not doing that. They're so consumed by profit that they are willing to basically destroy their own resources. And at best, you end up with a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the passion thing, and driving that as part of a creative endeavor. That's the thing that the games industry has been taking advantage of for a very long time. Because
and the thing
people who end up... Sorry, Celine, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, the thing about passion is that if you're not looking after your mental health, it burns out. It'll be a candle at both ends. And that is why we have like exoduses like we had with Naughty Dog in the wake of The Last of Us Part 2. I think Netherworld had a similar issue with one of the Mortal Kombat games, like because of trauma involved in all the work that goes into the fatalities and stuff like that. And it's just like,
I think every company's at this point, Insomniac is for Spider-Man, they've been most notably recognized because their employees very much came out and said there's no crunch at Insomniac anymore. And if it's possible, and it all comes to time management. And that's what this article talks about, like how they acquired the Lego games. And they always had to hit deadlines because it was a Christmas Lego game, or it was tied to a movie, or, it was, there was just always some deadline where they had to, and of course, Lego Star Wars, they're always trying to meet, some point or some standard to get to, which is just... Movie game tie-in games are oftentimes really bad because of this, because they often have to meet deadlines, and it's a tie-in of some sort, and they have to meet contracts and everything. So I can understand like where the corporate owners are coming from in a sense, but like Celine said, it's like a candle at both ends. I mean, you got to treat your employees right, and then by really facilitating just a good culture and a good work ethic and a reasonable timeline and organization, the results will come.
Just look at Hades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the moral of the story is just treat your workers right, and you'll get good results. I mean, that's just with any job, not just so much the video games. Also, but it just makes me mad. Like when I see again, like, I mean, kind of just as a gamer and, a gamer who follows, the video game news, it really opens my eyes to what's really going on behind the scenes when these games are being created. And not just this game, but just any game, really. It's just, we know that it's hard work and, all that stuff, but you don't know like the bickering that goes on, if any harassment's going on behind the scenes, just people's companies' dirty laundry. So it's like we don't visit these studios. We don't have like a camera like inside these studios. We as gamers just have no idea. We just pick up the game, play the game, pay for it, and just happy with it. So I mean,
But it's like
hopefully,
buying clothes, right?
yeah.
You never know where they're made, but these jeans fit me so good.
Fast fashion,
Yeah, a little bit different, but the I think we will be getting to a stage soon where the old guard will leave. The old guard being the business people, the people focused on the numbers and the resources generating an output. There will be enough people who have been in the industry for long enough that are focused on that creative will and that passion and taking care of people the right way in the industry, that they will start moving to higher positions and it will start to reform things a little bit. We're just
kind
not
of like
quite
we
at
was
that
back
stage.
in the day.
Yeah. Someone doing the right stuff, like saying, hey, I'm taking the lowest salary for a bit, or donating massive parts of your salary to make sure people have what they need. Like that. That's actually a great example. Yeah. One day it will become the norm.
Hopefully, that's the
Yeah,
dream.
yeah, that's the thing. All right. So with the gaming news call outside of the way, I tried to make that as short as possible. We get into the main topics. Well, actually, really main topic, and did you think that anything? But before I announced it, did you guys think that anything would be bigger than Microsoft acquiring Bethesda last year?
Well, no one saw this coming, right?
Yeah, I know, I didn't. I'm just being
I
honest.
mean, yeah, I saw them
Yeah.
acquiring more studios, but no, an acquisition like this.
Yeah. We've been theorizing on the podcast, like, are they going to buy Sega? And I think this is.
Yeah, I said
Oh,
Take Two
cool.
last year. Yeah, still might
Oh, we
happen.
wished.
Yeah. So if you guys have haven't been keeping up, Microsoft is in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard for just about almost $70 billion, 68.7 billion to be exact. And I just said, yes, the whole company, Activision Blizzard. So let's go over what that includes. It includes, their IP intellectual properties such as Overwatch, Diablo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, StarCraft, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk. The list goes on and on. So I mean that's a lot already. So the main one, Call of Duty, we were talking about that earlier in the show. The top 2 selling games from last year were Call of Duty games. So before we get into like who this is going to impact and everything, I just want your reaction, your thoughts. If we think this is going to be good or bad, pros, cons. Whoever wants to kick it off and go.
Just very quickly to say, this is more than the games.
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard, well, Activision for a start, has a massive standing in the gaming community. It's the first third-party publisher to create games for a console. They acquired Blizzard, which was World of Warcraft. There's King as well in there. That's why we've got Candy Crush. We can't forget that King absorption too, with a bunch of smaller studios. And I never want to miss any, but we've got Raven, we've got High Moon, Irax, Demonware, Toys for Bob.
Yeah, Toys for Bob. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Infinity Ward. There's a bunch of studios under the Activision banner, and which would inflate this price quite heavily. And
and this is all going to be cash. This isn't like an IOU or anything. Microsoft is paying cash for this.
So this is why I alluded to the stock price earlier, that Microsoft putting themselves in a strong position in the stock market to elevate their stock price and their valuation is going to put them in a good position for dealing with this kind of stuff, because cash up front, that's them buying based on the stock price of Activision Blizzard. And it's incredibly low at the moment. Like, they're getting this for a deal. They really are, because of all the stuff that's been going on, the turbulence around the company because of Bobby Kotick, because of the lawsuits that have been targeting Activision Blizzard for their terrible work practices. Apparently, stock market manipulation lawsuits coming through as well. Like, everybody jumped on the lawsuit bandwagon for that. And just like the stuff we talked about before with the Lego studio, the way that they treated their employees, sexual harassment, all that stuff, that stock market price takes a bit of a dip. And that's why they can fork out the cash to make a deal like this, because 70 billion now is probably what would be like 100 billion further down the track. So they're getting in before it rockets upwards again, and they managed to fix things up, which sounds very manipulative. But I think a lot of people are thankful that they did this when they did.
I mean, that's just how business is, to be honest.
But the thing that surprises me most about is how secretive this is. Someone that I follow quite closely in the Giant Bomb community is Jeff Grubb. He also works for GamesBeat. He's got so many connections on the inside of a bunch of the game dev space. And he was saying in his Grub Snacks episode, I know Grub Snacks, he was saying that he heard rumblings within Microsoft that they were closing this deal over the Christmas period. Like on Christmas Eve, they were having meetings late at night trying to sort something out, but they weren't sure what it was. Even then, he had no idea. And he's the guy who usually knows stuff. So yeah, it's just a massive confluence of things, isn't it? Huge.
Yeah, no one saw this coming. No one predicted this. Like I thought, Microsoft was just going to buy, a couple more small studios this year that no one had ever heard of, or just maybe Takes-Two, like Finance was saying, or something like that. But yeah, just
Haze Lightning.
Yeah, just the fact that Activision's the third most the third most gaming company in terms of sales, like especially with the Call of Duty games alone. This is going to be I'm looking right now. It's just, oh boy.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, you go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay, I mean, there's just so much to unpack here. That's why I'm kind of sitting here and quiet, because I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, it's just so much, right, Finance?
I'm going to help you guys out. So let's start there with the games. Microsoft acquiring this studio means that this collection of publishers and developers means that they have a bunch of highly rated, highly acclaimed titles under their belt now. So the first question at the forefront of every consumer's mind is, do I now need an Xbox to play Diablo 4? Do I need an Xbox to play World of Warcraft? Am I getting subscriptions tied into my Game Pass? What do you all think about that in terms of a question as a consumer? Do you think it's going to be a Microsoft world for gaming now?
So I if you don't mind, I'll jump into that one first. So I think it's both ends. I think it's great for the industry, and there's definitely some sour points. There's everyone's gonna have a different view on this, but it's definitely throughout the gaming community, on the Twitterverse and everywhere. It seems like you're on one end or the other. But I'm happy that Microsoft picked up this company, because that means, based on Phil Spencer's comments prior to us hearing about this acquisition, it was very much Phil Spencer and even PlayStation and Nintendo were like, we look very down upon everything that's going on within the company. Things need to change. This is going to be very much like, in hindsight, us looking back at Phil Spencer and those words, and seeing if things did change for the better. I mean, in terms of the people that have been striking within the company and everything, they very much said things are the same as usual. This really means nothing to us at this current point, because we still need solutions. We still need equal pay. We still need the game testers need to be treated fairly, and they need to be not just temporary employees that they hire and fire at will. You know, there's there's so much even within that little segment that you said, Matt. Like,
Well,
I think
let's very
yeah.
quickly cover off a quick point as well that often gets talked about a lot too. As part of this deal, Bobby Kotick is going to continue to be the CEO of Activision Blizzard for the duration of the deal, and then it's believed, it hasn't been 100% confirmed, but pretty much confirmed that he will be leaving once the deal closes in 2023.
That has been the understanding.
Yeah,
the
that's
sentiment that I've been
understanding.
hearing. Yeah.
He'll be probably
Yeah.
be leaving
So-
with a golden parachute, but there you go.
Oh, he absolutely is. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be around 270, 290 million.
He's getting a big
he walks
payout.
away.
He can just go rot or do whatever he does after he leaves the company.
We're gonna see, because I mean, as of right now, like, there's still lawsuits going on, like,
Yeah.
through California, and you know, people that are still trying to hold him accountable. And I know
Yeah.
Activision. I'm sorry, I got a lot of going on outside.
That's cool.
I know.
Sounds like your neighbor. Sounds like your neighbor.
It's definitely my neighbor.
Yeah.
I know they were appealing, you know, that the state of California was trying to sue Activision Blizzard for all these you know, wrongful practices that they've been, you know, incorporating throughout, but that's all under investigation and so forth. So I mean, yes, he, as of right now, it looks like he's going to get a golden parachute, and he's going to be able to sell off into the sunset right now, because not only did Microsoft purchase this company for cash, they purchased this company based on their stock evaluation. They purchased Activision Blizzard for 4 times the amount that it's worth. So it's not like, you know, it was a straight up like evaluation of the company, and this is like, hey, this is what we're buying Activision Blizzard for. This is like, okay, we're purchasing Activision Blizzard not only for what they're worth, but with all their potential, you know, software and games and everything, and subscription services are worth too. This is a purchase well into the future of what their worth would be or could be, as much as it is what they're worth right now. So everyone at the top is not losing anything by selling the company per se, other than they get immediate money right now.
So
Yeah.
the important question that I was trying to drive towards with what you were talking about earlier, though, is whether the employee conditions are going to improve, whether Activision Blizzard will acknowledge voluntarily the creation of the small Raven QA studio union, doing all these things to improve the business, while he's just waiting for that parachute to be strapped to his back so he can jump ship. Do you think conditions will improve over time in these studios?
You can only hope so. I mean, I think they will. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if they've been in contact with Phil Spencer or the Microsoft team just yet, but I'm pretty sure that before the deal closes, unless something falls through with it, I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm pretty sure they'll be taking a big look at what's going on over there, and, you know, just making sure everyone's on the same page before this deal closes.
And just speaking to what you said, Matt, about like how you like honed in on trying to like a little bit of all this, we have received a quote from Phil Spencer that he tweeted out, and PlayStation has also responded. I don't know, Justin, were you going to dive into these?
Yeah, we're going to get into, well, you know, in the pretty much what's the deal mean for, you know, Sony, Nintendo. So, I mean, we're going to get there, but
okay, then I'll just hold off on it then. But yeah.
I mean, right now, yeah, we could just do the, you know, pros and cons, you know, right now, the future, and, you know, just I mean, just after hearing a deal like this, my thoughts. There is some good, there is some bad. I think, you know, the good is, you know, let's be real. After hearing about what we've heard about Activision in the past couple months, it has shitty leadership, and it's going to get some better leadership, in my opinion, based on Microsoft's, you know, record standpoint, all that good stuff. But at the same time, I think it's, in terms of the games, the properties, it's taking a big hit in the third party department, if you know what I mean, because If you look at
I
what they
don't. Can you
had.
explain?
Well, that's a euphemism if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, so I mean, let's be real. I mean, maybe not immediately, not this day, but I mean, I'm thinking, years down the line, do you think games like Call of Duty, are you going to be able to play it on PlayStation? Not talking this year. I'm not even talking next year, because they still have those contracts with with those other platforms. But do you think like 5 years from now, if you want to play a Call of Duty game, do you think you're going to be playing it on the Sony PlayStation or Nintendo if it gets the hardware power enough to run it on the Switch Pro or Switch 2? Another story for another time. But I mean, or is Game Pass gonna be sneaking onto these consoles where you could play these future Activision titles?
Can we stop right there? There's just there's just so much. Okay, so
I know.
So yeah, we don't even know if this transaction is going to go through. Like the
Yeah.
FCC could stop it.
Yeah,
Say,
the FTC. Yeah,
still
got the FTC to
Microsoft
worry about.
is monopolizing the market, and this deal falls through unless they break it up in some way. So very much could happen. Do I think Call of Duty is going to be on PlayStation later on?
I'm just using that as an example, but yeah.
But no, I don't. I honestly don't, and that speaks to the tweets that they said. So I'm gonna just go ahead and read this one because it's wordplay, and it just means it just like falls into line, and it kind of tells you what the underline is. And we very much saw this with we're seeing that with Deathloop right now, and like how that was a PlayStation exclusive for a year, but we're not gonna see like these other games come to PlayStation consoles. But anyway, end quote from Phil Spencer said, had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And our desire to keep
decision driven. No disrespect, but that's
no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm so fired up right now.
I know.
And our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry, and we value our relationship. So when I read this right here, just our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, and I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon the acquisition. I mean, those are powerful words right there. And it's really going to speak to what we see potentially in the future. It's like if PlayStation plays nice or they pay up,
they're going to pay up.
Yeah, like then there's going to, they might possibly keep it on PlayStation, is how I'm reading that personally. And then, let's say our desire to keep, it on PlayStation is just very much like, yeah, we'll keep it on PlayStation. Like, we want to keep it on PlayStation, but there's the underline right there. And it's going to be all those contractual obligations that we never see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think he's saying the same shit he said when they acquired Bethesda.
Yeah.
I mean, and look what it is now with Bethesda.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think to a degree, Microsoft can't afford to go too far as long as there's chip shortages in situ, because people aren't necessarily in a position to buy both a PlayStation and an Xbox right now.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they can get one, they probably won't be able to get a hold of the other for whatever reason. There's also the fact that they don't have the established market in Japan that they do in the Western world. So if they are going to diverse their portfolio in terms of the kind of games they're offering, they may still make deals with Sony because maybe certain games, certain franchises have an appeal in Japan that they can't really do on their own consoles because no one's really buying them there.
That's great. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Microsoft has struggled to get into the market in Japan for years. They've gotten better, with the launch of this Xbox Series X and S. But let's shift gears to Sony for a minute. I mean, we saw that they took a big stock dive when this happened. What, 20 billion or something. I forget what the number was, but
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, it was 20 billion. So what does this deal mean for Sony if this deal does go through? Which, I mean, we don't know if it will or will not. But I mean, what does it mean for them? Are they going to have to gobble up some other big third party company, or just respond with just the games, as some people keep saying?
I mean, this is just a panic. Like, this
Yeah,
is a whole bunch of people that, don't follow the industry, don't follow the market, panicking because they don't know what this means. And we don't know what it means either. But, and it may mean Call of Duty is, that relationship and those contracts that they had with Activision Blizzard fall through, and we might not see Call of Duty on PlayStation anymore. And it was very much like it was on the 360, and even the one, or I'm sorry, yeah, the 1X and 1S. Xbox had those relationships with Call of Duty prior to Sony, and
yeah,
it was all those exclusive DLCs and limited time features and so forth, like, were all on Xbox prior to Sony. And then obviously Sony, I don't know what happened, but Sony might have offered more money, or Xbox didn't want to participate in that anymore, because Phil Spencer very much has already said that he feels like timed exclusives and gatekeeping is bad for the industry. But
yeah.
on the other side, that's exactly what we're seeing. We're going to see more of it. And yeah, like Celine said, if it leans in Microsoft's favor, then we definitely could see some of these games coming to the Switch and coming to PlayStation and so forth. Or if the developer requested, because Rare is the ones that requested, that these games come to the Switch. And Microsoft is very much like for their developers, based on their actions and what they've done with Rare and allowing their software to come to other platforms. But that was an initiative the developer brought to Microsoft, and Microsoft allowed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, Microsoft, they played a lot of tools behind the scenes, even with Smash Brothers Ultimate, letting Banjo-Kazooie into the game. That was big, and even King K. Rool, because they still, they own those properties from Donkey Kong Country, just not the Kongs themselves, if that makes sense. But definitely, with Sony, it's going to be kind of a complicated situation. But in terms of just all the other titles, like let's see, like Toys for Bob, you think of Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I can easily see that coming to the Switch easily. I mean, you just have to wait and see. I mean, because the thing is, like, Xbox and Nintendo, I think, have a better relationship than Xbox and Sony, mainly because Xbox has come out and said they don't really view the Nintendo Switch as competition. Like, I think they're like, in different like directions in terms of what they're trying to, draw. And you've seen like titles come over, like, Super Lucky Tail, that's on the Switch. Cuphead, that came to the Switch first. It's on the PlayStation now, but I mean, it came to the Switch first. So, I mean, I think they do. I think for Nintendo, I think it really doesn't mean too much. I mean, we just have to wait and see, like, in terms of like what other games they could do in terms of that. But I mean, I think Microsoft and Sony, that's where you'll have some, because they're two big heavyweights.
Justin just hit his fist together for those that didn't see that.
I think there's
Locking
the bigger
horns,
picture. There's a bigger picture that we're missing here a little bit, because there's a lot of articles talking about how Microsoft, despite this acquisition, that the acquisition puts Microsoft as the third biggest company in the space, behind Tencent and behind Sony. In terms of evaluating a company for what it is, Sony has a lot more at its disposal, a lot more access to revenue from all the different spaces that they have available. Microsoft is one of these companies as well. Like, they have Azure services, they have, Microsoft Office and all that kind of stuff as well. Like, in terms of the big picture, if we're thinking of panic stations for Sony acquiring studios just to fill out a portion of the market and make sure that they're flexing to make sure their stock price goes up, I mean, they might do it. People have been postulating strongly that the EA would be a studio that they try to acquire. But at the same time, Sony won't be worried about this for money. It will be about market control.
Yeah.
And for what, in the quote that you said before, Finest, I mean, it says a lot inside it, but the key words there are existing contracts. There's clearly pre-established relationships we're going to be seeing in future if they choose to continue those relationships. And in terms of gatekeeping that Phil Spencer is against, he may be against sectioning off a platform to have entirely exclusives that cost $70 a piece, the same way that Sony is doing it. Instead, having Game Pass, and this is by far the strongest piece of ammunition in their weapon, is that they have Game Pass as a subscription service. xCloud is being built into that as a cloud gaming platform. It's working incredibly well. It's got, from what I've heard anyway, Australia won't be getting that for a couple of years, I don't think. We haven't even got Stadia properly. Building that into a platform that's easy to access, that gives you access to a ton of games, just the value for consumers is great. And the fact that we are talking about Game Pass making its way to the Nintendo Switch potentially, that's a conversation that they could have at some point. It gives them a platform as well as a console. And you may or may not be aware, but Microsoft has had a hard time getting into the hardware market. Yep. Usually they've been software. That's about it. So this is revolutionary for them, I guess, in a little way.
Very much. I mean, they could tell Sony, like, hey, we'll continue these relationships and we'll bring Call of Duty to your platform if you allow Game Pass on PlayStation. Yeah. Now, it would never happen. It'll never happen.
It could happen.
It could. I think it could happen on Switch, but not PlayStation.
The other conversation that's currently taking place quite actively at the moment is the whole App Store environment. There's a lot of suits currently underway with Epic Games in the Apple Store and things against the Play Store. The idea that a company with a monopoly on their own App Store for their own devices shouldn't be able to control that could mean that having Game Pass as an app platform for games potentially is possible. Maybe it's antitrust for people to refuse to have Game Pass on something like Sony PlayStation. And once those rules are established, there's going to be a means for Sony to gather revenue from, say, subscriptions to Game Pass. Like there has to be some kickback to them, right?
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible, I think, that Sony will allow Game Pass on it. But I think
I mean, that's based on suits that, pending suits and so forth. But like, if so, like by what Sony would allow, not forced upon by like any suits or pending suits or antitrust, Sony would prefer not to have at this point a Game Pass on their system. Would you agree?
Even though it's been talked about, we've been hearing about this Project Spartacus. They've been teasing PS1, PS2, PS3 games being backwards compatible on the PS5. We'll have to just wait and see. Let's see how Sony responds. I think, balls in their court.
Can I read another quote?
Go ahead.
I'll do a little bit better. And this is from Sony. And, it's speaking to what Microsoft and Phil Spencer has said. It says that, and quote, "We expect Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform." They said a spokesperson tells the Wall Street Journal. So those contracts, they could be multi-year contracts. So that could go into like 2026, 2027, or it could end in 2023. We don't know what those contracts look like. But if Xbox does want to end those, I mean, it's going to be an extreme payout to Sony, but it just depends, what's going to favor for Microsoft,
Yeah, but I think Microsoft would this is just my assumption. I think they would just let the contract expire, and then after that, talk to Sony about, hey, you want this game on the platform? Well, here's what you're going to do for us, and Sony agrees to it, great. If not, then because the thing is, they want Games Pass on any platform you can play it on, whether it be your PC, whether it be your Android phone. And I'm pretty sure eventually they will start having conversations with Nintendo about putting Game Pass on the Switch. So I mean, they want people paying for that subscription service. They want to be the Netflix of gaming, the real Netflix of gaming.
They already are.
Yeah,
But
not that Stadia crap, but yeah.
have you really looked at Game Pass and what Game Pass is doing? And what I mean by that is the subscription. Yeah, that's great. They make $10, $15 on a given person that pays for it. But like me just purchase a month. Yes, I'm sorry. But me just like purchasing an Xbox Series X and being new to Game Pass and like playing Halo and playing Forza and playing Flight Simulator, and seeing these like first party Xbox games, like Xbox, yeah, they're making money off this subscription. But like if you look at it, like Flight Simulator has hundreds of locations and locales for purchase within that game. Forza very much nudges, like it's not like super intrusive by any means, but Forza has like a whole bunch of like in purchase, like you can purchase this, you can purchase this, you can purchase this. Halo is the exact same way, and they're building these platforms within their platform, and they're very much like, hey, you can purchase this or you can purchase this. Halo has a battle pass, now, and like all these other games are all instituting their own in-game in-game transactions. And like honestly, I don't know I have any numbers, but this is my conclusion just being on Game Pass for the short time that I have, that Microsoft, yeah, they're making money off of Game Pass, but they're really making money off these in-game transactions once they get you into Game Pass and once they get you into these games that you love. So I mean, the Game Pass, like it's like so it's so well done. It's like people are like, oh, Game Pass is a great value for your money. Like you're paying for it. You may not realize it. You may not realize it because you're paying for it, and you may $10 here and $10 here and $5 here and breaking it up in so many different places. But you're paying for that Game Pass, and you're not just sinking in that $10, $15. You're sinking in hundreds of dollars probably a year. And the people that are purchasing the games also in addition to Game Pass are, they're Microsoft is very much like double dipping, and people are paying for it and not even realizing it.
Yeah, this is an established method of getting revenue.
Kind of makes me think of the
Go ahead, Celine.
Celine, you there?
Yeah, it just kind of makes me think of the time when I think it was someone from Britain asked EA for his GDPR report and found exactly how much he spent on FIFA.
Oh wow.
It was a lot of money, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm sure it was
a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that there's an established, that the whole Netflix model of things was established first, or not first, but most predominantly by 24/7 gyms, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about selling a massive amount of value that realistically you only use for a short amount of time. It might be $15 a week for you to go to a 24/7 gym, and they say you can come whenever you want. But realistically, you're going to come between 7 and 10 or 5 and 8 p.m. Like those 2 blocks. You're not going to the gym at 4 a.m. unless you happen to be one of those people who's working a very early shift, or your time circumstances are a little bit different. But the way that they sell a 24/7 gym in that respect means that they can sell more memberships. Netflix works the very same way. They say they've got millions of titles that are award-winning, and you pay a small fee, which is slowly getting higher and higher. Game Pass will be the same too. But I think the difference here, and one of you guys said it earlier in this podcast, that instead of doing the short, sharp reaction to the market and creating a product to continue with that, they are looking at the long game for this. They want to get fan support. They want to make sure that they're doing all the right things for people, that they've got a massive platform with a ton of leverage in the market. but they have the goodwill of the gamers who are participating in the platform. They want to get everybody in, and that's when the Game Pass price will start going up. There's going to be tiers to it. Like, I think I listened to a podcast that postulated potentially a World of Warcraft subscription tier, where they just bundle that into the service, and you get an unlimited subscription to WoW for however long you're subscribed to Game Pass. Like, there's a lot of opportunities for money making in there. The one difference here, I think, that I have compared to what you were saying there, Finest, is that I don't think they're focused on money at the moment. I think microtransactions are still in a very rough place. I think actually recently they announced that Halo Infinite Season 2, the multiplayer, is going to be play to earn. So it's going to be possible for players to earn credits to spend in the store when they play the game enough. And that play to earn mentality is going to feed directly into revenue raising as well, eventually. But currently the conversation is, hey, you have to pay for these now with actual money. Oh, now you're giving us the ability to spend currency in game that we earn ourselves by playing. It's a constant juggling, but I think they're not focused on the money right now, even though they are getting a ton of it. I mean, how many of those 25 million Game Pass subscribers are actually still playing the game and haven't gone to the effort of games? Just haven't gone to the effort of canceling. They're just sitting on a subscription because it's so little. Again,
yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, I know for me personally, like when I canceled it, like a year and a half ago when I had the Xbox Games Pass Ultimate service. I mean, I canceled it because I have a lot of other subscriptions I got to watch out for. But I mean, maybe the average Joe Blow, he won't. They'll just like sit on it, just use these games, and then maybe just go out and get the game that he really wants when he finds out that particular game is leaving the service. So, I mean, that's one reason why I eventually do plan on getting Forza Horizon 5 and maybe a couple of other titles also that I see fit that are exclusive to Xbox.
For me, I do that balance too. Every month, my wife was kind enough in Christmas 2020 to get me a Humble Bundle Choice subscription, which is a year-long subscription where every month they give a bundle of games, and their choice has tiers as well. So I think I get access to all 12 games as part of that. I choose every month whether I opt in for the Humble Bundle Choice, or if I delay it for a month, which you can do over and over, or I hang on to my Game Pass subscription, because the value is pretty much the same between the two. Fortunately for Game Pass, the Humble Choice bundles have been filled with games I already have. So I've been delaying that for quite a long time, to the point where a 2020 Christmas present is lasting me through to 2022, which is brilliant. You definitely want that kind of value. But yeah, just hanging on to subscriptions for a particularly long time is a bit of a thing. I had a bigger point there, but I've completely lost it in my brain.
Yeah.
So even though both coffees are gone, I'm still suffering.
The coffees are gone.
So we touched on quite a bit, like in this $68 billion acquisition. Man.
And look, we have to acknowledge as well,
Yeah.
this podcast, we love talking about news. We are great about it. We've got some brilliant perspectives. We are a little bit late to the party, and there's a lot of other podcasts and articles and things out there that you can read to get more information than we've got here, because there is a ton of it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I'll probably listen to some podcasts sometime later this week about this whole acquisition, and just to get some other perspectives. But we're busy people. Like I said at the top of the show, we just did not have time to just have an emergency podcast show. Like, all right, let's go on. Like, as it was like, holy shit! Like, because that was my reaction. Like when I woke up out of bed, turned on the gaming news on. Actually, I think it was Mark that sent it in our Discord. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, excuse my language, but it's just like, it's just no one saw this coming, and I was just like so utterly shocked. And it's just like, what's this mean for all like their IPs? That's I mean I know that everything else behind the scenes is also important, but it's just like the games. But I mean, we'll just
This
have
is
to wait and
broad
see.
impact, right?
Yeah, it's just
Very,
so
very large, broad
yeah,
impact.
and like Finals was saying, I mean, we have to wait, see if this deal goes through because the FTC can shut it down if they think it's going to monopolize the gaming
Dude,
space.
I don't think they're going to shut it down. I've listened to probably 12 or 14 hours of podcasts this week trying to keep
Wow.
myself caught up on it. Read a bunch of articles last night as well, just to catch myself up on where things are at. And it's all speculative, but I think it was Kotaku maybe that had a chat to a lawyer about the whole antitrust thing, and it's probably going to go through. I don't think it's going to be taken out because the way that they're going to look at it is that Microsoft is a company with vested interests in other areas, and it's a vertical acquisition, which means they're absorbing a game company into their multi-billion-dollar corporation that provides a bunch of other services. It would be an antitrust problem if, say, EA, just horizontally grabbed Activision and pulled it into itself, particularly if it was going to have an overwhelming control of the gaming market at that stage. That's when questions would be asked. But Microsoft having a gaming division, but also being having a bunch of other, vested interests for the company on the side as well. I say on the side. Who knows? Xbox might be the new.
I believe the
cat's
word is
cry
a
for Microsoft.
conglomerate.
Conglomerate.
Yes, bringing that conglomerate together, they're actually swooping in down and picking it up and pulling it in, as opposed to a bunch of companies on the same level merging into each other. So this isn't an Apple acquiring Samsung kind of thing.
Mm-mm.
This is a little bit different. Samsung may be a bad example too.
It's okay. I
You
think
know
we got
what I
the
mean.
point.
Yeah. We get it. But
Actually,
yeah.
no. For all the Americans in the audience, the Sprint and T-Mobile merger, I think
I think that's a
that's
better
an
example.
antitrust
That's
problem.
a better
Yeah.
example. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So one more thing I want to touch on is after this whole acquisition, was announced, Raven Software, which is one of the studios that's under the Activision Blizzard, they formed the first union at a major U.S. gaming studio. Yeah, that's something that I'm
Good on them.
surprised I was surprised. I was like, wait, what? This is the first? That was like key word there at first. So I
It's
mean,
the first in the U.S. Yeah.
first in the U.S. Yeah. So it's so pretty much they pretty much are doing what should have been done a long time ago, and that's just I feel like it's just probably long overdue, especially with a company like this. But hopefully, Microsoft, when they do acquire the company, that the union stays around. Hopefully, the union gets bigger, and we see it go across not just this company but other companies. Maybe the last company we talked about with the Lego, Star Wars Skywalker saga. So, any thoughts on this company?
It's this, as you said, this is long overdue.
Long
But the
overdue.
thing is, we're surprised at that it's the first union, because this kind of stuff just doesn't get talked about in the industry enough. I know there's a lot of cries for unionization a few years back when the League of Legends studio, someone's going to have to help me out.
League of Legends.
Riot Games.
Right.
Riot Games had a lot of claims against the company, trying to make light of this, to tell everyone what's going on in this studio. And somehow Riot managed to scrape clean of that. I'm not entirely sure how, unless those conversations are ongoing. But the fact that we've got a first established union, it's 34 people, 34 QA testers in Raven. And the current stage of things, I think I said earlier that they're voluntarily submitting themselves for unionization and giving the Activision Blizzard the chance to recognize them as a union. They're still waiting to hear back from that. I think it might be today or tomorrow, at the end of the 5 days that they gave before they start taking more action to be recognized. I think it's going to go through. It has to, and it has to set a precedent for the rest of the industry as well. And as with everything else, it's going to have reverberating effects through places like Ubisoft, which has also had some pretty dire accusations against it, and justifiably so by the sounds of it. Unionization in the gaming industry is a big one. It's going to be around for the long haul. And this is partially why I asked the question before about whether the conditions will continue to go in the direction they seem to be going at the moment under Bobby Kotick, or will they wait for Microsoft to acquire it and then start to make that groundwork happen? I think there's going to be some lines of the deal somewhere where they probably said, hey, clean house. We don't want to come into a house with messy floors just when we buy it. You got to clean the walls. You've got to, clean out the sink. Do the things to make sure that when we come in and we take over this thing, it's not, a decrepit mess on the inside that's required for us to fix up. The other part as well, Microsoft's going to be dealing with all these lawsuits should they still be underway when it makes that acquisition.
Oh boy, yeah.
But I guarantee you, if Microsoft has an opportunity to leverage this for gamer buy-in and to look good in the industry, they will take it. And it's going to be at the behest of Activision Blizzard leadership. I almost did it too, Finus. A trip over.
Can I make one small amendment?
Yeah, sure.
You talked about Riot Games earlier. I just wanted to highlight that while things did seem to go under the rug for quite a while, they re-emerged at the end of last month to pay $100 million in their discrimination case. So I don't know if they're appealing off the top of my head, but I was like, I swear I heard something about them recently, and that was it.
Okay, well that's a good result, because I know that the big issue with Riot was that they were the people who were affected were trying to sue the company, but Riot was really pushing hard for internal arbitration and to bring it all indoors and keep it all incredibly private. So that's really good. They will definitely appeal that.
So it's £100 million $100 million settlement. So I just quickly fact check that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for the fact check on that one. But anyone want to follow up with Matt said about the Gamer Workers Alliance and Activision union employees?
I just solely agree with what Matt said, and I'm right there aligned with that.
I think it's good. I mean, hopefully we see more of this, and like I said, this past year we just heard a lot of shit coming out of the gaming space, like behind the scenes and stuff. It seems like the gaming developers do need a union based on what I've heard. I mean, now how I feel about unions, do I think they're for all jobs? No. I mean, they do come in with their own agenda at times, depending upon what union it is. But I think they can help, some spaces in some way. And I think this behind the scenes work is pretty much where we need to see them. So, I mean, I think it's...
Let's be honest. Yeah. If the industry leaders were treating their workers right...
Yeah. We wouldn't need them.
We wouldn't need them.
Yeah, but it seems like it's just all over the place with bad crunch here, harassment suits there, this, that, the other. Like, you need them. All right.
Yeah, and then Roblox is its own can of worms.
Oh yeah.
Roblox. That would be a really great topic to unpack for a
I do recommend
special episode.
I do recommend the two-parter by People Make Games about them, because it's quite horrifying.
All right. So, all right. With that being said, great discussion with the main big topic. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about this as the year goes on. Updates.
What I would urge sorry, I don't want to jump on top of you, but what I would urge our audience to do is to not just take this as a gut reaction as a consumer. All the things we've talked about today already, like the unionization, the treatment of workers, the operation within the industry, the way that gaming works in the marketplace, how gaming is occupied as a marketplace, and the controlling stake of big companies. We want to make sure that if we're reacting to this, that we're reacting with information. So hopefully you've gotten a little bit out of today, but you should definitely go out and listen to a few more podcasts, read a few more articles, and keep an eye on it as it progresses, because we are looking at this thing closing mid next year. I think it's June 2023.
Yeah, just don't listen to us. I mean,
Yeah. So says the educator.
Look, I'm happy to sit here for 6 hours and talk about games, but I know our audience can't. And
yeah,
I've listened to 12 hours of podcasts this week about it.
Yeah.
All of them said something different. And it's
Yeah.
because everyone's got a different perspective, but there's just such an overwhelming amount of information
Mhm.
and processing and, you know, different sides to consider. It's really funny what people would look at this being non-gamers and go, oh, well, it's just a market acquisition, right? But as gamers, we're invested in the platform our games sit on, the people that run those games, sometimes the people that develop those games, but more importantly, that we get them in a certain way sometimes. And that's why the Microsoft versus Sony stuff really comes out of the woodwork. Yeah, I think the gaming industry is unique in that way. You know, books and authors, a little bit different. But
Yeah, I
games,
think it's
game
the
developers,
interactivity of the medium, isn't it?
yes. And
You
it's
know,
still in its infancy.
because you know, even if you go with just like the visual novels, which are the most basic of video games you can think of, because you're putting something into what comes out in your personal experience, I think that is what sets the games apart. Like you can when you're invested in, say, a book or a movie, it's because the characters have struck you somehow. But sorry about that.
Apex Legends not going so well tonight, is it?
Doesn't sound like it.
happens.
It's been going with, up until last night it was going fine for him, and now in the past couple of nights something's gone to pot. That's just the nature of Battle Royale. But I think that's a prime example of the sort of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, you get invested, right?
Yeah. I think Apollo's hasn't overly been into like the Battle Royale genre, but Apex is an exception purely because he gets he interacts with his friends through it.
All right. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the release rundown of games coming out this week for the appetizing month of January. These are the last set of games coming out this month. So I'm gonna just run through them real quick. We got El Hijo, a Wild West Tale, which is already on other consoles, but for the most part, it is coming to iOS and Android January 25th. Also, January 25th, The Artful Escape. It's already on Xbox consoles, Series X and S and One, but PS5, PS4, and the Switch. Circuits Superstars coming to the PS4 January 27th. I believe that's also on other consoles as well. Daemon X Machina coming to the PC. That's a Switch exclusive coming over to the PC. So if you don't have a Switch but have a PC, definitely play that. I've heard nothing but good things about that one. The new actual game coming out this week, Pokemon Legends Arceus, coming to the Switch January 28th. Also January 28th, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. So the Legacy of Thieves Collection coming to the PS5 and PC. So any games anyone should be on the lookout for this week if they don't have other platforms, or if they're a big Pokemon fan and want to give Arceus a run. Any suggestions, guys?
I like how you said that. You said, anyone interested in these games or Pokemon? Because I think that will be the heavy hitter.
Yeah,
from the this week. Everyone's keen to jump on a Breath of the Wild engined open world Pokemon game.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. I mean, I'm it's not on my list to buy, but I mean, it's definitely. I'm sure I'm going to be hearing a lot of reviews about it next week. So, but that's what's coming out this week. Does any other games anyone wants to comment on, or shall we move on to what we're playing?
How about some predictions? Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. A lot of people complaining about that coming out again on another platform. But a lot of people will be thankful for an up-res version of that game. I think the Legacy of Thieves is Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4, I think.
I think so,
Both excellent games. Especially, did I say the name right? Legacy
Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection.
Yeah, but the second
Lost
Legacy. Lost Legacy. I did say that before. See, yeah, brain's already going, guys. I got a full day of work after this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Lost Legacy is actually great. Seems like a small DLC with like 5 hours of content, but it's actually like 20 or 25, and there's a great story in there, even though Nathan Drake isn't in it. You see Sam Drake in there every so often. Great game. I would urge people to give it a go. And The Artful Escape, again, I played that last year when it came out on Game Pass. Amazing game. It's not the most complicated game in the world, but very good. There's a reason it was nominated in the Game Awards last year as well. So if you haven't had a chance yet and you're on PlayStation, give that a go as well.
All right, definitely. So I have a little secret to share with y'all. I've never once played an Uncharted game. Where should I start if I'm looking to get into Uncharted?
It's a story-based game. You got to start with one, bro.
I don't know. I think you could play them all in a vacuum, but I would suggest starting with one anyway. If for no other reason than realizing that the first one came out on PS3 first.
I can find it.
Seeing the improvement of the fidelity as the console generations and Naughty Dog itself has improved. But yeah, Finder said it's a story-based game. The story, I think, is one of the main things you go to it for.
Absolutely. And those
I really enjoyed them.
But if you were just going to play one, if you just had to jump into one Uncharted game, I would just go to number 4 then. Just the improvements that they did throughout that series, and just it's all really encapsulated in number 4. The gunplay, the wrap-up of the story, just everything in that game is the pinnacle of Uncharted to me. So I would say 4 if you're going to play one.
Also, Clash of the Voiceover Titans, Nolan North and Troy Baker in the same game.
Yeah.
I think that was a lot of their marketing. So if you enjoy either or both of those men.
I can tell you a piece of Uncharted 4 trivia if you're interested.
Far away.
So, you know that there's a framed picture in Nate's house right at the beginning?
I'm sure there is. I don't remember.
Yeah. I think it's kind of part of that initial pan over when they're kind of showing the home. In a trailer, people spotted that it was that Naughty Dog did a naughty and lifted concept art from Black Flag.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Well,
it was just an homage.
Yeah.
People were too distracted by the ability to play Crash Bandicoot in that first initial section. That was 4, right? That wasn't 3.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was 4. It was
yeah. Naughty Dog does weird stuff sometimes, though. I know there was a story that came out about Last of Us where you do a certain number of things in the first section of The Last of Us and go upstairs to the dad's bedroom. On the TV, there's just a picture of a giant ant for some reason. It's a weird one. But yeah, definitely give Uncharted.
All right, definitely. Well, I've PS3 still hooked up, as Finance knows when he visited the Too Tall for You Fool studio. So, I could get my hands on a copy of the first Uncharted. See what we're working with here. All right, so last segment of the show. What are we playing? Who wants to start?
I can start, sure.
All right, fire away.
Well, so as you guys know, I routinely have a game I play with Apollo, and then there's a game I play by myself. At the moment, the latter is Persona 5 Strikers, which is basically taking the characters of Persona 5 and going on a road trip and doing a different style of dungeon on the way. And then you've got, and it's developed by Omega Force. So if you like the high number beat 'em ups of Dynasty Warriors, but with a Persona twist, I do recommend it. And the game that we're playing together, which might surprise some of you, is Chicory: A Colorful Tale.
That doesn't surprise me. That's just a really nice time, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we actually were caught off guard because sometimes there's a game we'll pick and we'll just cuddle up and go through it together, even if it's only one of us technically playing. And then so Apollo fires this game up on his laptop and then is like, it's got a co-op mode. I don't think I've seen many people talk about it. But yeah, essentially, a player 2 can have their own paintbrush and you can color in the world with player 1.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds real cool.
I think you've just toppled the story of me getting my wife to play Power Wash Simulator. I think yours is a lot more romantic. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm playing God of War on PC still. I
You
started
loving it?
last week. I did pick it up. Look, I love that game. I really do. Still aiming for Kratos beard. So, but yeah, it's still the great game that it once was. No glitches, no bugs or anything really. Just ones that you forget about was previously in the other game. If you've got the right computer, then you can play it with amazing graphics. In fact, shout out to one of our previous guest hosts, Tedita. He's currently streaming God of War on PC, so you should check him out on Twitch if you are interested to give the game a look. He's streaming it on his PC in 4K, and well, he's streaming at 1080, but he's playing at 4K on his end, and it just looks ridiculously good. So anyone who hasn't had the chance to try it, it's a big chunk of change. For Australia, 75. I think for America, it's 50, but definitely give it a go. And with Ragnarok around the corner, definitely jump on top of it. This may be your last chance before you run out of time.
All right. We'll keep that in mind. F-Man, what you playing?
I'm back into Dead Cells right now. So
Dead Cells. Oh, you're doing Dead Cells again, man. All right.
yeah, I was really hesitant. I was like debating whether to do Hades or Dead Cells, because there's just so much content on both of those games that I have not even touched yet. But Dead Cells, they just added new DLC for free, and they'll be going to be adding some more DLC. They recently took some of the free stuff that they added. They took weapons from all the different roguelikes, and they've incorporated it in Dead Cells. So now you can get like a Hollow Knight sword, or now you can get a weapon from Blasphemous, and just like it's just really cool. In addition to that, they have like new enemies. There's new secrets within the levels that you've already been to. And I've got to experience a little bit of that, but just so much to unlock within that game. So I'm back into that game, at least for the next couple of weeks until Horizon comes out. And then I'll be playing Horizon on my PS4 and waiting for Ollie Ollie World also.
All right, sounds good. So I've been playing 2 games. I'm usually all over the place with my games, but I'll share, two games I've been playing. I've been playing The Messenger. I was thinking about what Electrancy, I believe he was telling me about Hunt Force last week. So, I was thinking about, what's a retro-inspired game based on another game that didn't age well. So I explored Ninja Gaiden, and, just it's a good game for its time, but, just in my opinion, it just didn't age very well if you play it today. Just some of the buttons are kind of hard to control, all that sort of thing. But I'm playing The Messenger. I'm about a couple hours into it, and it's a very fun, relaxing game so far. I've had a lot of fun with it. Definitely if you like the Explorer platformer in 8-bit graphics, definitely give it a go. And then another game I've been playing. I told myself I want to play all my top 20 games of all time this year. So I've gone back and played one of my favorite games, Saints Row the Third remastered. This is my first time playing the remastered version on it's for PS4, but I'm playing it on my PS5. It's they really did a good job, with the remaster. It looks a lot different than it did on the previous PS3, Xbox 360 console. So it's really cool. I mean, I'm just kind of taking my time through it. I'm just using cheats and stuff, just and that sort of thing. I already beat the game for real years ago, so I don't really need to prove myself, I don't think. So I'm just taking my time with it, and that's
Definitely a game for the story then.
Yeah, it's definitely a game for the story, definitely. But I enjoy it, and you guys know me. I'm looking forward to the Saints Row game coming out later on this year. So I figured why not just do that, and then I'll be exploring some more games on my top 20 list later on. Maybe Assassin's Creed 2, you never know, but
in Ezio Auditore, actual Assassin's Creed 2.
Ezio, the actual Assassin's Creed 2.
Please do. Some people say it's some of the best.
It's better than Brotherhood, right? Yeah,
Brotherhood was a great game. I don't know why it gets missed so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Brotherhood was actually amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
combat.
It was good, but
sometimes I would just sit there, I would whack a guy in the middle of town, and I'd just fight for like 20 minutes because it's great combat. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I got the collection. I'll probably get it installed this week. Maybe that's what I'll jump into this week if I have some time. But we are out of time on this episode of the Game Watch Podcast, episode number 72. For not Ted, excuse me, for Matt, the educator, Black Hat Celine, and Finest Dabs, OVG. This is Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool, saying so long. Be sure to check us out on all our social media platforms and come back next week for another great episode. Later.
Ciao.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.